Hello and welcome to day 11 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing 20 Christmas themed Cricut paper crafts in 20 days. Today's project is this adorable Winter Wonderland stepper card. It uses lots of shades of the same colour to build up this scenic background, and then we've got these adorable little animals on the front. But you might have noticed this is not a regular greetings card. Nope, as this is a stepper card. It has a really fun stacked appearance when the card is displayed. It's a little bit hard to show on camera, but this is what it looks like from the side. If I open it up, you can see it's all made from just one rectangle of card, but with two clever little slits and a few score lines, it transforms it into this dimensional card with a space on the back to add your message. These come together quite quickly once everything has cut out, but they definitely give the wow factor when it is on display. And best of all, it will fit into a standard 5x7-inch envelope, or you can make your own envelopes, and I'll include a link in today's download to some envelope templates too, and a tutorial on how to make those. But for now, let's get downloading these files to make this Winter Wonderland stepper card. The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. Register a free ticket for the Christmas Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas24. After registering, you'll get an email which contains a link to the schedule page for the countdown. Visit the schedule page to find and download today's files. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas24 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Christmas Craft Countdown, plus lots of extra bonus designs. The download comes in a zip folder. You need to unzip this before uploading the SVG files into Cricut Design Space. This is what the design looks like when the SVG is uploaded into Cricut Design Space. If you're not sure how to get to this stage, check out the Foundation Learning section at the top of the schedule page for the Christmas Craft Countdown, as that includes a separate link to a tutorial in there on how to upload SVGs into Cricut Design Space. When you click the design, you might notice that it comes in slightly bigger than 7 inches wide and 10 inches tall. Don't worry about that, it is still going to fit inside a 5x7-inch envelope. It's just for some reason, it's not quite letting me line these up exactly along the edges. So all of these bits are 7 inches wide, but for some reason, it's just not aligning them quite correctly. There are a few things we need to do to this card before it's ready to cut, and that is to format all of the score lines. So first, click on the design and then press the Ungroup button at the top of the Layers panel to separate out all of the pieces. You can then scroll all the way down to the bottom until you get to that very bottom layer, and if you click it, it goes green in the Layers panel, and you see there's a little arrow next to it here. If you click that arrow, it opens up until you can see two separate layers. Click on the one that looks like a load of horizontal lines, and then over under Operation, change it to be a score line. And that means that the Cricut will score all of those lines instead. If you don't have a scoring tool or stylus for your Cricut, then check out the description of this video, as I'll add a link to a separate tutorial I've done on there on how you can score with a Cricut even if you don't have those tools. The link to that tutorial can also be found in the Foundation Learning section of the Christmas Craft Countdown. There's one more thing we need to do, which is to attach those score lines to the base card. Attach is Cricut's way of knowing where we want it to do those scores. So click over in the Layers panel on the top bit that has the little arrow next to it, and you see now that's selected my score lines and the main base card underneath. Press Attach, and that will join in together. You see there's now a little paperclip next to it in the Layers panel, and it says Attach next to it. This has moved it to the top of the design, so we can't see anything else anymore. To move it back, press Arrange, Center Back, and now we can see everything else again. And that's all you need to change, so it is nice and quick and easy. I'm just going to click Make to show you what it looks like. This will separate out all the different colours for you. If you want to, you can change the paper size in the drop down here. And then you can also click and drag things to move them about to use less space on your card. Just make sure when you're moving things, nothing overlaps, like this is now overlapping. Otherwise, it's not going to cut properly. You can make those changes for every single colour, and you would have to do that one at a time for each colour. I just want to quickly show you this one. So this is the base card over here on the left, and this is what it should be looking like. So we've got our dotted lines, which indicate the score lines along the card, and it all moves together as one. When you're happy with how everything is looking in Design Space, press Continue on the bottom right to connect to your Cricut machine, get everything cut out from cardstock, and then I'll show you how to stick it all together. Here are all the pieces of my card cut out, and I've laid all the bits on top of each other so that I know I've got everything in the right place and that I'm happy with all of the different colours. Included in your download folder is an assembly guide which shows you the order to stick everything together in. And it's arranged by front of the card, which is this section here. You've got the middle panel, which is the little rectangle with the house on, and that's going to be stuck in here. And also the back of the card, which is our message panel, and that's these ones. But there's a third sheet in your assembly guide, which I just wanted to draw your attention to. And this shows you how we're going to be folding the card to get the stepper effect. So this replicates your base card, your light blue one here, with all of the cuts and the score lines. So it shows you the different folds to use, and we've got two. There's a mountain fold, and that's used for most of them, but then there'll be one valley fold, and I'll show you the difference between those now. It's up to you if you glue all of these bits onto your base card first, or if you do the folding of the base card and then glue the bits on top. I'm going to do the folding first, just because I think that'll be a little bit easier to show you how it's all done. Oops. Oh, I just spent ages getting all that in position and then I just ruined it. Never mind. Okay, so to do the folding, you want to get your base card and put it down in front of you so that you've got the two slits and they're closer to the bottom of the card than they are to the top. And then we've also got the two score lines down here and here. So that shows that this is going to be the front of the card. It's probably really hard. You probably can't even see those score lines, but they are there and there. If we go back to the instructions, you can see this is in that same orientation. So I've got my two score lines down here, and then they're here on my card. Just going to use one of the pieces of the assembly guide to show you the difference between mountain folding and valley folding. So actually going to have this one at the front so it's not distracting with all the text. So when you're mountain folding, you're folding up like a mountain so that the score line or the fold line goes upwards. So it ends up like this with the fold at the top, and this would be a mountain fold. A valley fold is the other way around. So if I was doing this as a valley fold, I would fold it upwards this way, and then the fold is at the bottom like a valley, or if you turned it round, you've got the shape of a V. So valley fold, point at the bottom, and a mountain fold is when the fold is at the top. All right, so first let's do this score line that joins the two slits in the card together, and this one is a mountain fold, so that point needs to go upwards towards us. It's a little bit tricky because it's in the middle of those cut lines. And if your Cricut hasn't scored very deeply into your card, you might just want to run down it again with a scoring tool if you've got one, or the edge of some scissors or something. So I'm just roughly pinching that into that mountain fold shape. So my fold is coming up at the top. It will come better once we've done some of the other folds. So there's not a lot of wiggle room at the moment between the card. I'm then going to do the two folds down the edges, which are in the middle of the card. These are also mountain folds. So I'm just going to start those folds by going along and pinching it inwards on one side and then again on the other. So I'm trying not to force it because it will all come together a little bit better once we've done them all. All right, then we've got this one, so the highest one up out of the two that are left. This one's a valley fold. So this time I'm going to hold that fold downwards and fold the sides up instead. If I turn it round, you can see I'm making that V shape as I pinch this in. And then finally, there's one left, which is this one that joins the very bottom of those slits together. This is a mountain fold. So again, I'll pinch upwards to make the point like a top of a mountain. And now that we've got all those folds kind of started, you should be able to fold your card flat to make this shape, and then just run down with your fingers or with a brayer tool or a scraper tool to get those folds really crisp. I'm going to use my brayer tool, and the better and crisper you've got these folds, the easier your card will keep its shape when it's stood up and when it comes out of an envelope. Just go over it on the back as well. And then here is my snapper card. So actually, it comes together pretty quickly, but it makes a card that's really unusual and is definitely going to stand out when you've got it on display. Now that we've got the structure finished, we can start adding the details. I'm going to open it up flat again so that I can stick the bits on the front, but don't worry, it folds up really easily again, so you're not going to have to do all that folding work again. Now that we've got the fold lines all started with those crisp lines, it's going to easily go back into place. Okay, so let's start with the front of the card down here, which is all of these pieces. And your assembly guide has all the pictures on, along with which ones to glue, and then we'll foam square on the last little details at the end for a bit of dimension. If you'd rather not do that, if you want your card to be a little bit thinner so it's easier to post, you can just glue all the pieces instead of adding any foam squares. The glue I'm using is Bearly Art Glue, but I also like Collall. These are both great because they don't bend or wrinkle the cardstock like some other glues can do. If you're using the Collall, you probably want to put it into a little needle tip applicator bottle because the bottle it comes with has got a really big nozzle which will make it difficult to use, whereas the Bearly Art Glue has that needle tip already built into the bottle, which is great. So I'm going to start with my white piece, which is this one. It's going to be glued right on the front. You see it fits on the front without going into any of those score lines that go down there. So I'm adding a good amount of glue to the back of here, as this has got to have all the other layers stuck on top of it, so we want to make sure it's really well stuck to the front of the card. You can check you've got it in place by just folding the card up, and it should go around all of those nicely without any overlap at the top. And also make sure it doesn't overlap at the bottom, otherwise your card might not stand up right. Then right on top of that, we've got this darker blue piece, so it will show the white through as all of those little stars. This again is just glued right on top, and we're going to be doing this for most of the pieces on the front of the card. I love how all those stars look. They're really pretty. And then next up, we've got the biggest layer of the mountains, which is this one. Gluing again. Then the next layer of the mountains, and this is the one that has the outline of the deer on it. You can see that in there. And then the last glue piece for the background is this one that has the outlines of those bunny rabbits. Now when you put this on, just be aware that the ears and the heads of the rabbit, they go over that score line. So you don't want to add any glue right in the very tips of the head or the ear on this one, because that's not actually going to have anything behind it. If I turn it around, I'm not sure you can quite see. You can kind of see the head of that bunny peeking through. So I'm going to leave those bunny heads and just do the rest of it. This goes right up against the left side of the card and then follows along the bottom. Alright, next up are the final decorations, which I'll add on with some foam squares, but if you prefer, you can just glue them. These are the foam squares I'm using from Dot & Dab, but any will do. It's just, if yours are quite big, you may need to cut them smaller with a pair of scissors so that they're going to fit. I think this is going to be easiest to add the foam directly into the outline of this deer because it's very small, especially along that neck. And then I've got a little cutout to go on top, line it up, and there we go. And then I've got the bunnies too. These ones I'll add the foam on the back of them, just because I'm not quite sure on the positioning. There are 3 bunnies to add. I'm going to try and get a foam square in the main body and then also one sort of up in the head. I've got some that I've cut a little bit smaller already. Just give it a better stick than one alone with the particular sized foam squares that I've got. So see, I've got a little one up in that head. And then this one lines up with that outline. Then there's the one with the little tail cut out. And I'm just going to check I've got the ears the right way around. They're very similar, but not quite the same. So one foam square in there. Ooh, let's try and get one in his ear. And in the other ear. These are very narrow. If you're not a fan of teeny tiny bits of foam square, then gluing these would definitely be easier. That one. And then the third bunny rabbit is just going to go sort of underneath in the blue. It doesn't matter really where you put it, so you can put it wherever you want to. Mine just there, looking the other way. Then finally, for the front of the card are the 2 trees. Start with the bigger one that goes right up against the side of the card, so that's going to go into that bottom corner. This one isn't so small, so it'll be a little bit easier with those foam squares. You can see you've got the tip of the card on this lighter colour of the background. So you can use that to help line it up, but also it will just fit into that bottom left corner. Like that. Then one more tree, and this one's going to push up against this one, kind of like that. So the spiky bit from that tree goes into this gap in this one. I'm going to line it up so that that spike fits nicely in there. And then the tree's got a kind of line on it here, which is going to go against this line in that tree there. Push them right up against each other. That's how they end up looking. So there's the front of our card all finished. Next, I'm going to move on to the rectangle in the middle. And this time it's easier to glue it all together before you stick it onto the main card. And I've got all my bits here. I'll zoom in a bit so you can see easy because this is very small. Okay, here we go. And then we'll start with the darker blue, which goes right in the middle. This is a glue layer. So try to get it in the middle so you've got a nice even amount of that other colour blue showing around all of the sides. Then next we've got the yellow layer of the house, which again will be glued. This is going to make it look like the lights are shining through the windows. And this goes right up against this bottom left corner. And then you see it goes all the way along the bottom. And I'll also glue the moon in place at this point too. Okay, then we've got the tiny bit of smoke that'll look like it's coming out of the house. So it's a very small piece of card, but it's not the smallest. Okay, I'm going to overlap the house a little bit because I want the kind of corner here to line up with the corner on that darker blue. So it's fine that the smoke comes into the yellow a little bit because it's going to get covered up now by this piece of the house. On there. Now I'm going back to my foam squares for the snow on top of the house. Again, if you don't want to add the foam, just glue these pieces in instead. It'll still have quite a bit of depth to it anyway because we're using so many pieces of card. Lines up along the roof of the house there. And then there's also a tiny bit of snow to go along the chimney. Got my tiny little half-sized bit of foam square there. And then let's get this into place. This is the smallest piece out of everything. There we are. And then foam for this little bit, the blue bit of snow to go along the bottom. Then we've got one more little bit of snow, which is going to go on that left-hand side. This time we're gluing though. Lines up on that corner. And then there is a snowflake, which I cannot see on my table. I definitely had it at the start because I checked that I had all of the little pieces. These are the snowflakes for the back of the card. Seem to have misplaced it. All right, well, I'm going to have a little look around my craft room and see if I can find that snowflake, or if not, then I'm going to have to recut it. So I will be back very shortly. I found the snowflake. It was on the floor. Here it is. This is a very small, narrow piece of card. So if you are worried about it being messy with the glue, you can leave it off. It's not essential to the card. It's just a little bit of extra, just to add something to that bottom corner. I'm trying to be really gentle so I don't smush the glue out. And there's our cute little middle to the card. And then we can glue it in place, open it out. Now on the main card, we've got this rectangle bit here. Then there's the valley fold, then the rectangle at the bottom. You need to make sure that this does not go over that valley fold. It's going to sit in the rectangle up at the top like that. If you were to glue it like this in the middle, your card isn't going to fold properly. So it's really important that you get it up there in the right place. This is a little heavy, so I'm going to be a bit generous with my glue. This would also make a nice matching gift tag if you were doing a gift as well. You could just cut this little bit again and then write your message on the back to attach to the gift to match it in with your card. And that goes there. Now I'm not going to fold this up until that glue is dry because I don't want it to move about. But what I can do in the meantime is turn this round and attach the back. If you already know the message you're going to write on your card, then you can write it now on this white piece. But if not, it's fine to write it when it's all stuck together. Adding my glue to the back of the white, and then this will go on to the back here. And then I'm going to foam square this to the back. Now you can glue it, but foam squares probably work out best because it helps to give extra weight to the back of the card. There's a lot going on the front of this card, and we need to make sure that it stands up properly, which means the back has to have a nice amount of weight to it too. So by adding foam squares on the back of here rather than glue, then you're getting the weight of that foam on there just to help balance it out a little better. You could also use maybe thicker card for the back if you didn't want to use foam squares, or maybe double up the pieces, so maybe cut 2 of the white maybe and stick them one on top of the other if you find that your card isn't standing up very well. Just give that back a little bit more weight to it. Line this up so that it's got a nice even border of the main base card around all 3 sides, and make sure you don't go over the fold line here. That one's there. And then there are 2 extra snowflakes you can glue onto the back if you want to. I'm going to put a smaller one in the top left. Ooh, got a big glob on my glue. Look at that, a big bubble. Don't want that on my snowflake. Let's try that again. Doesn't matter where you put these, they're just to make it a little bit prettier, and again to add a little tiny bit more weight. And now I can turn it round and we'll zoom out a little bit. Oh, wrong way. There we go. Fold it back up. So there we go. Now don't worry that you can't see all the house when it's just all folded like this. When it's put up in front of you, you'll be able to see it down there, see all the little picture, and it's just such a lovely little wintry card. If you like this Winter Wonderland theme, then check out the link in the description to my SVG shop. I've got several other cards that use this same style with all the different blues and the same kind of images and the house and the trees, but they're completely different styles of card. I don't know about you, but I always really like making my Christmas cards match, but not exactly the same. So what I'll tend to do is have a particular theme. It might be either a visual theme like this, or maybe a particular technique that I'm doing. And then I make all my cards each year sort of fit that theme. So that's why there are a few different versions of the Winter Wonderland images on completely different cards, because I will be using them this year to make all of my cards, and they all look lovely when they're all made. It also helps me keep track each year to know I'm not going to send the same card to the same person more than once by having a different theme every single year. But for now, here is my stuffer card looking beautiful, and I hope you have enjoyed crafting along with me. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more videos on card making and Cricut themes. And I hope that you join me tomorrow for day 12 of the Christmas Craft Countdown. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!